Okay, so guys, now going to start the session. Okay. So yesterday I told you call out. Okay. So we studied what is REST call out and SOAP call out. Okay. So let's suppose there is one action system. Okay. And this action system is providing the service. Okay. Means whenever we will hit in this action system, so we can get the data, we can get the response. Okay. So okay. If any action system is providing the service, okay, so that action system will have the API. Okay, that action system will have the API who is providing the service. Okay, so we have Salesforce. Okay, so okay, Salesforce wants some data from action system. Okay, Salesforce is initiating the request. Okay, and Salesforce wants some data. So first thing, okay, Salesforce needs API of the action system. If action system is providing this service, action system should have one API. Okay, that API, okay, we will provide to the Salesforce asset. If Salesforce wants the data, okay, so we'll provide the API to the Salesforce. If you can say SAP, okay, developer or SAP wants the data, so we'll provide the API to the SAP developer. Okay. So who is providing the service? Okay, that system has API. Okay, so I have one API. Okay. Let's suppose it's the this one. Okay, so it's the public API. It's anyone can access. Okay, so clicking on pretty print format, I'll get the response in good form. Okay, in pretty form. So here I'm getting the product details. Okay, so I have one API and it's the public API. Let me put here. Okay, now, okay, Salesforce is hitting to the action system. Salesforce is hitting to the action system and Salesforce wants some data to the, okay, from action system. Salesforce wants some data from action system. Okay. So, okay, Salesforce is hitting the request to action system. So which type of integration it will be? Salesforce is hitting the
Outbound.
request
Outbound.
to the action system. So which type of integration it will be? It will be the outbound with respect to Salesforce. Okay. Now, okay, what if it is the outbound, you can say integration. So what is the possible way to take the data from action system? Okay. So first way is REST callout. REST callout. If you want the response from action system, so you can use the REST callout. So with the help of REST callout, you can take the response. Okay. So how can we do the REST callout? Is anyone who know? We need to create the Apex class. Okay, we need to
Yes,
create
sir.
Apex class if you want to do REST callout. Okay, so what I'm doing, going to open the Salesforce and going to open the developer console. And what I'm doing, going to create one class. Okay, the REST callout class 2. Okay, you can create any method, any name you can write. Okay, now what we are doing, okay, we are initiating the request from Salesforce. So we have to write the code to send the, you can say to initiate the request. You have to write the code to initiate the request. Okay, so what code we will write?
So HTTP
We
request,
will
yes.
write HTTP request.
Code.
We will make one instance of that.
Sure.
Yes. Okay. So I have created HTTP request object. Okay. Now later, okay, whenever I'll do the request, we can send the data also. Okay. And we can, sub- okay, sometimes we can send the data and sometimes we will not send the data. Okay. Now, next question, we are doing the request, but from which action system we are doing the request? Okay. So if you are taking service from action system, so action system will have the API. Okay. So that API, action system will share that API to the another system, okay, who wants data. So action system will share the API to the Salesforce developer. Okay, so we have one public API which I'm going to use, this one. Okay, so for that, what will you do? When you will do the request, you will write the API name. So for
Set
that
endpoint.
name, set endpoint. Okay, so here you have to pass the API. Okay, so Preeti ma'am was asking how we will identify from which ecosystem we have to connect. Okay, external system will share the API to the Salesforce. Okay, you have to initiate the request to that API. Okay, whenever you will hit the request, you have to hit on this API. Okay, so I'm passing the API name here. Let me copy the API name. Okay, now in which form will send the data? Okay, when we will do the request. So okay, for that we have set header method. In set header method, we pass two parameters and both will be in string form. Then, okay, third we have method like you want you are sending the request only, okay, or you are sending the data along with request. Are you sending the data or not? Okay, so these things, okay, you can say we add from set method. Okay, with the help of set method. So what I want the response. So I'm using get method. Okay, along with request, if you want to send the data, you can write post method. Okay, now need to pass the set header. So always what it will be, okay, content type. Okay, in first parameter, you have to pass content type. In second parameter, you have to write application slash JSON. So in JSON form, I want
So
the
when we use the post method,
post method, like I am initiating the request to that API. Okay, so what I'm doing, whatever data are available in this API, that data I want in Salesforce. Okay. With the help of get method, I'll get the data which are available inside this API. So all data I'll get. Okay. What do you want? If you want to send the data from Salesforce at time of initiating the request, you want to send the data, okay, to the external system. That time we use post method and we can insert the data to the external system. Okay, so along with request, you want to send it to the external system and you want to insert it to another system. That time we use post method. And if you want to take the data from external system, that time we use only get method.
okay, sir. So what is content type?
Content type, like it's the language format, okay, in which language will send the data. Like we have two types of language, JSON and XML. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So any doubt till here? Okay. So
Is it no, sir. Mandatory
Set header.
yeah. Can you come again?
Is it mandatory to set header?
Yes, yes. It's mandatory to add the set header. Okay. Because in REST API we can use both language like JSON as well as XML. Okay, so we have to inform to the action system. Okay, we will send it in JSON form and we need the response in JSON form. Okay, now what I'm doing, I'm sending the request. Okay, I have API sending the request, sending the method. Now what I'll get the response from action system. Okay, I'll get the response from action system. So if you want to send the response, so what will you do in code? You will create one variable to store the response information. So HTTP response. For that, we have HTTP response class in which we can store the response. Okay. When we will get the response? Whenever we will send the request to the action system. Okay. When we will get the response? Whenever we will send the request to the action system. Okay. How can we send the request to the action system? Which class we will use to send the request to action system? Guys, can tell me?
HTTP class.
Good. HTTP class. Okay, so I have created one variable for HTTP class, or you can say one object. And what I'm doing, I'm going to send the request. So this variable name I have to pass it. Send request. Okay. What I'll get whenever I'll send the request, I'll get the response. Okay. So I have to store the response. For that, I have this variable response, which I can use. So response equal to HTTP class object name dot send request. Yeah, I'll get the response. Now what I can do, I can debug it. System.debug. Okay. Response details. Okay. Second, I want the body, response body. So for that you can write, you can use get body method. Okay. So we'll check the status. Am I getting 200 or not? If I'm getting 200, so okay, our code is correct. Successfully, we are able to connect with action system. Okay, 200. Okay, if I'm getting clicking on execute button, getting some error message. Okay. Why I'm getting this error message?
Yes, sir. So we did not add the path in the remote site setting. That's all.
Because it is a public API, so you have a remote site setting. That's why we have not added this endpoint domain in that.
Yes. Okay, so we have to authorize the API. So for outbound integration, what can we do? We can use remote site setting. If it is a public, so we can go with remote site setting. Okay. So this endpoint URL which we are using, we have to add it in Salesforce in remote site setting. So going to add it. Okay. REST call out, remote sites setting, and point to paste the URL. Okay. Clicking on save button. The complete URL you can also write, and okay, domain name you can also write. Now again hitting on execute button and going to run this code. This time I'll not get any type of error message. Okay. Clicking on debug only, I'll get the response. You can see HTTP response status is okay. 200 code, HTTP 200 status okay, and getting the response. Okay. So guys, do you have any doubt in REST callout?
No, sir.
So, so can we take one real life scenario on this? Like last day you were mentioning that from AWS app and all.
Yeah, I'll do it
So,
for a SOAP callout.
okay,
It's the
okay,
public API. So for public API, we can't do many things. Okay, I'll take the example when I will create the private API. Okay,
okay, sure, sir.
yeah. I'm revising yesterday. You can say yesterday's session only.
Okay, okay.
Okay, any doubt till here?
No,
No. So okay, it was the code for get method. Now what I'm doing, I'm going to create another method, public static void callout post method. Okay, now going to write the code for post method. Okay. This time what I want to send the data. Along with the request, I want to send the data to the action system. Okay, action system is sending the API. Okay, so along with the request, I want to send the data to the action system from Salesforce. Okay, so what we will do, we'll use the REST callout. Again, we'll use REST callout. So what I'm doing, I'm going to create one class. Let's see, HTTP request. Okay, I'll get the response. So going to create the class for response also. Okay, so when I'll okay, how can we send the request? For that, we need HTTP class. Okay, so going to create three variables. Okay, so now when I'll do the there any error?
Sir, HTTPS लिखिए.
Okay, now whenever I'll do the request, I want to send the data. So first thing, okay, we have to pass the endpoint URL from which action system we are going to connect. Set endpoint. In endpoint, we'll pass its type of value. Second, in which format we are sending the data. That is set header. Always we have to pass. And two string type of value we have to pass. So I'm writing single quote. Okay, third thing, which method? Okay. So you need data only. You can use get method. If you want to send the data, you want to insert the data to action system, you can go with post method. So when you will go
Post.
with yeah, when you will go with post method, okay, so that time you will use set body and you have to pass the body in string form. Okay, so I am looking the request dot set method. Okay, so in HTTP request, there are some methods are available: set point, set header, set method, set body. Okay, now what is the endpoint URL? Let me copy the endpoint URL. Same endpoint URL I'm going to use. Okay, header, content type. Okay, application. slash JSON. Okay, post method. Now we have to pass the body. So in which form we have to pass the body? In JSON form. So how can we create the JSON? Okay, simple. Add flower braces, then write the field name. So going to the Excel system, you can say API and checking which fields are available in products. Okay, so ID, okay, it's the auto number field. Second, title, description, category, price. With title, description, category, price. Title, okay, description, okay, description, then we can pass the value. Category, price. The fourth value is price. Okay, now passing the value. Okay, so price without double quote, we can write, going to save this class. Okay, now I'm doing request and along with the request sending some data. Okay, so when I'll get the data, so report will be inserted into Excel system. Okay, so going to use this HTTP class to send the request. So send request. I'll get the response. That response where I'll store. With that response, I'll store in this variable, which I've created above. Okay, now I can debug this code. System.debug. Okay, response code. Response code. So already I have added this, you can say, endpoint URL or this API to remote site setting. So now what I don't need to add it again and again. Okay. So going to run this method code. So opening the anonymous window with the help of Control E and going to call this method, post method this time, and clicking on execute button and checking the response. Okay, clicking on debug only. System.http response not found. Status code this 404. Okay, maybe I'm getting some error. Don't type HTML language, and this. Okay, coming to the code, I'm going to check it again. Is this code is correct or not? Let me comment this code and let me put get method. If status code 200. Okay, here status success. Debug only. HTTP response status not found. Okay, status not found. Status code 404. I think we cannot use a post method for this API also. That's why I'm getting this message. If I change the, you can say API, which I was using yesterday, maybe I'll able to send the data. Okay, let me open this API and let me check the fields which is allowed. So I wanted data format, first name, last name we can use. Okay, first name, last name. And other code I'm going to remove. Going to save it and again going to hit this request to the system and checking the response. Okay. Message expected after property name in JSON at position 15. So here is okay, here is one mistake. Let me execute it again. Debug only. System.http response status not found status for 404. Language UTF-2 error. Cannot post users. Okay. In this method, or in this API, we can't also use post method. Okay, can't post. But we can, okay, but this code is correct. There is no error. It's the public API. Okay, so we can't insert the data in this public API. That's why I'm getting the error. But this code is correct. It will be the way to do the REST callout with post method. So guys, do you have any doubt in this code? Guys,
पहले से ही दी हुई थी सर देखो नहीं की थी लास्ट टाइम
कोई डाउट है इस कोड में?
No, sir. No, sir.
Name user name. Let me change the endpoint URL again and going to check it for other public API. This public API will allow the post method or not. Okay, so this public API is allowing. You can see name, username, I'm getting the ID and sending to information only. This code is correct, there is no error. Okay, some public API will allow, some will not allow. The you can say post response because it's the public API and we cannot insert the data properly. Okay, it's for everyone. Okay, so some API is not allowed to use the post method. Okay, so I hope there's no doubt till here. Okay, it makes sense to you
Yes, sir.
guys. Okay, so
So can't we like post on public API?
okay, some public API is allowing post method, some
Okay.
is not allowing.
Some are not allowed.
Yes,
Okay.
let me take another public API. I have this one post. We'll check it. It will allow or not. Okay, user ID. I'm passing only title and body. And going to copy this endpoint URL. Let me run this code. Title body ID 101. I think there are, okay, ID 100, you can see. From 1 to 100, we have report. There are 100 reports are available. And whenever I'm executing my code, so new report has been created that ID is 101. Okay. So for some public API, you can use the post method. Okay. All public API is not allowed the post method. There is restriction. Okay. So guys, I hope it makes sense to you.
Yes, sir.